costume. And before we get into this one, this is a trust the process costume. So
Got it.
a little scary, but that's okay. It turns out really cute in the end, and every ghost looks different, so
there's no wrong ghost.
It's been an interesting process with this costume. So we've got Danny, the celebration horse from this year, who's going to be turned into a ghost for Halloween. Awesome. And then we have our white sheet, and then I've got my scissors and a hot glue gun, and then sewing needle and thread, which is completely optional. I didn't have to use it on this costume, so you don't necessarily need to sew this. Hot glue works just fine.
Got it.
White ribbon, or it could be white string, or a hair tie. It could be anything that you have lying around. I just choose white because it blends in with the costume. Then this is also completely optional, but I have pinking shears, which hopefully y'all can see, but they will cut the fabric in this fun little
jagged
edge, yeah. So that's super fun. I can't remember how much these were though, so they're completely optional. All right, so to start with our ghost, we're gonna take Danny and just scoot her to the side because I have a massive piece of fabric.
Got it.
And then what I do is after I've ironed it and everything, just to make sure that we're not gonna have a super wrinkledy ghost, is I fold it in half and just try to
one that's rolled out of bed, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. And then I just kind of fold it in half and just crease the edge, so that we're gonna have kind of a line to know where the back of the model is, because you can see, you can't really see the model when you're in ghost form. So
you want it to be long enough that it kind of covers 3/4 of their leg?
Yes, you want it to be long enough that it'll definitely cover the model. This piece is enormous. I just had a ton of extra white cotton fabric, so don't fall over, Danny. So it's gonna be pretty big.
Got it.
So for the very first step, I like to do is come over to one of the ends, and this is gonna be the side that I'm gonna have the head, and you can see it's not very even. So I'm going to just cut a straight line up just to make the edges even. Alright. Now we're ready to start our Trust the Process costume. It's going to turn out cute, y'all. You just gotta believe in it.
We're right there with you.
So, as you can see, us folding it did give a nice little crease. So now we know where the middle of the costume is going to be. And then Danny is about to become a ghost. So, what I like to do is I like to have quite a bit of excess on the face of the model. So, we did peel this back, there's Danny's head. But there's a lot of extra to work with because we don't want their faces to be sticking out and then the rest of their body to be a ghost. So, once we have our fabric kind of stationed where we want it to be, this is a good shape. We're going to work on the shape later too, but this is good. So my very first step I do for these costumes is I want to cut out the little ear holes. You can see that's her ears sticking out. So how you do that is you're going to come over to the ears, and then I just kind of like to push the fabric down just so I know where the ear is going to be. And then I grab that little triangle tip, hold that up, and then let me try to show this to y'all. I literally just cut the tip of that triangle off. So now we're gonna have a hole in our sheet. We put that.
I'm using linen, and it seems like the ears actually push through on their own. So I have 2 little starter holes.
That would be so convenient. Yeah, they don't push through on the cotton, so I have to cut it. So I just have to do that to the other ear. So just push that down. This is where your other ear is gonna be. Kind of form a little point, and then cut that off. So now we have the ears of our ghost. Alright, before we cut the eye holes, we do need to kind of shape the front sheet down so that it's not just sticking out there, and then we don't want 3 different sets of eyes. So what we're going to do for this is I'm going to take my hot glue gun, and hopefully y'all can see this, but I'm just going to fold the fabric down and kind of crease it on the fold so that I know what we're working with when I'm gluing. And then, I don't think you can see Danny through this sheet, but I can feel that her face is right here. I don't want to glue all the way down, but I'm just going to add a little bit of glue closer
Like
to
under, on the outside of the fabric?
on the inside of the fold. So as you can see, the fold's going to go this way, and then I just put the glue on the inside of the fold.
Got it.
So that when you fold it back down, it'll glue in place.
How in the world did you come up with this?
So last year on TikTok, there was like a ghost trend, and where everybody would just be like standing in a pumpkin patch with a sheet on, and I saw people doing it with their dogs, and I was like, I want to do that with my model horses, so I turned them into ghosts. So, as you see on this side, we're going to have to do the same fold. It looks like I'm going to have to do it twice with Danny just because her head is down. So, I'm going to glue this piece right here. As you can see, I'm going to put the glue on the inside of the fabric. And fold that back. Kind of press it down a little bit just to make sure it's actually gluing. And then right here, I'm going to have to do it again. So just put the glue on the side.
So just saying it wrong.
Alright, we're gluing along here. So I'm going to ask if you could, somebody ask if you could explain how you fold it again.
So how I do the folds, especially for the face, is that when the fabric is just kind of sticking out, you want to just like softly like push it down to where you can kind of feel the model's face, and then the fabric will naturally just go back and like start to form folds. And then what I do from there is that I grab onto those folds and then I just kind of crease it as I go down. And then that'll keep the fold together, and then once you've got the fold, you put glue on the inside and then just kind of like sandwich it together so that it's not going to come apart. Like this piece has been glued on and it's pretty stuck on there now.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about that coming off.
Perfect.
But then you got like this piece over here, which might need a little bit more glue just to hold it down better. So it just kind of depends on what your ghost is wanting to do.
How covered they want to be.
Yeah, exactly. So now that we have a nice head shape on our ghost, we do need to cut out the eyes so our ghost can see where they're going. So this part is a little tricky, just if you've got a ton of fabric on the face, but you're just going to feel for the eye of the model. Danny's eye is right about here. You can take a pencil and just kind of like do a little mark, like you could draw a circle and be like, that's where Danny's eye is. I don't know if you can see that on the fabric, but I drew a small little circle.
Yeah, we can see it.
And then do that on the other side. So now that you've got your circles, I'm going to pull this off so I don't accidentally cut Danny.
That would be bad.
That would be. And then we just need to cut the circles out so that she can see. And this piece, I don't know if ghosts have a certain eye shape. All of my ghost eyes look different. So it just kind of depends on what ghost you're bringing to life. They could be an angry ghost, a happy ghost, a scared ghost.
That's what's so fun about the crafting, because you could do whatever you want. I mean, if you wanted to do, pastel colored candy corn, knock yourself out, have fun. If you want to do a purple ghost, if you want to do a black ghost, if you want to do a green ghost, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be.
That's why I love making the costumes so much, is that there's no right way to do it. However you do it is going to be exactly how it needs to be done.
Exactly.
Alright, so once you've cut out your little holes for the eyes, you're going to have a very scary looking ghost right now.
I love it.
And then I'm just going to go ahead and slide that back on Danny. Alright, so here we have our ghost so far. You can see her eyes. I am going to need to glue the folds down just a little bit more.
My little guy going here. There's this little ears. Got 2 eyes and 2 ears.
All right. So once you've got your eyes and your ears, now we need to shape the ghost, and this is the trust the process moment, because you're gonna cut off a lot of fabric, and it's gonna feel like you shouldn't be, but you have to. So we're gonna start out by cutting off a nice like half rainbow right here for the face. I like to have my model's nose covered, so excuse me. Sorry. So what we have to do is I just kind of take note of where the nose is. Like if I pulled this all up, this is where Danny's nose is going to be. I'm going to cut below that. So just kind of keep a note and then add right there. So Danny's nose is not going to stick out. We don't have to worry about that. And then as we come down, I can feel that her chest is right here. So
So you're kind of keeping like a finger width between, or longer, between the model and the cut?
I tend to do basically half an inch, just so that you can have space, because I do the pinking shears, but if you want to, you can have a ghost that maybe doesn't fit into their sheet, or a ghost that sheet is a little too big.
Got it.
Just whatever you feel creative-wise.
The model I'm using is the Dark Horse Surprise from 2018. Anybody that I thought a running ghost would be kind of fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. A ghost that's like chasing people. So now you can see that Danny's leg is sticking out, and that's good. Now we know where her body is. And then before we cut the bottom of the other side, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this other half rainbow just so that we can have the front piece ready to go. So I'm gonna do the exact same thing and just a little bit more fabric on the side, so I gotta cut a little bit harder.
But can I trim off the back side yet, or are we not quite there yet?
You can, yeah. I just kind of work around like in a circle. So once we've got the face all ready to go, ooh, very spooky, look at that. Now I'm gonna take this side, and then here's Danny's body. And then I like to kind of just find where their knee is and then cut a little bit above the knee just so you can see part of their leg but not like the whole leg. So I'm probably going to cut right like that much off. So there's just a lot of fabric that gets used in this.
Yes, some folks are asking if we'll be able to see this later. Yes, we are recording, so that we'll post the video in a little while once we're all finished here.
All right, so once we have the side of our ghost, now we're going to go ahead and work around the back end. So we just got to feel where Danny's booty is going to be, so that's her butt right there. And then I like to leave a little bit of overhang, so I can feel that her tail is right about there. I'm going to cut to about this part, which is kind of hard to see, but if I pull this up, I'm cutting to basically where the tail starts to drop down, so right about there.
Got it.
This is kind of the trust the process moment. It always scares me to have to cut all of this off. So, and then once you've got the back and then this side, now we got to do this side with cutting off this excess fabric. So we're going to just do the same thing, find her knee, and then just cut across. Now I have seen where like on actual animals you can have the fun like tapered ends where they kind of like drag on the ground and they're just very scary, or you can just have it all together, nice and neat. But this is our ghost so far. Very fancy, very cute. I've got this little tab, which I'm going to go ahead and just glue down. Just because it's sticking up. Now, you can, if you have the pinking shears, add the zigzag little jagged edges, or you could do that with your own scissors.